Appreciate you having me tonight. Hopefully, Alex will be able to unmute and ask some questions as well, and then everyone that gets to watch this in the future will same thing. Well, I am Adrian Smude. I am from Plant City, Florida. As in between Tampa and Orlando. We are the winter strawberry capital of the world. And who am I? Why am I here tonight? I buy mobile homes. I buy stuff like behind me. If you're watching the video, these old raggedy mobile homes that come with most of their siding, most people are scared of. I buy these and nicer ones. But why is it important? Is because I became very successful in this little niche. And I became successful. And my definition of success is being able to have the freedom to be where I want, when I want, with who I want. And I think that's along the lines of most of our goals. Everyone has different numbers, different things they're after, but it's really freedom of some sort that we're after. Well, I have a few notes here, and anytime if somebody wants to jump in, ask questions, challenge me on something, I'd love that. I would much rather have this some type of conversation.
Yeah.
So the first real thing I want to almost challenge on and be a little controversial with is why be a millionaire? Um, and that was on my list. I mean, very transparent. That was on my list. I wanted to be a millionaire, but a millionaire doesn't really do a lot. I believe it's cash flow that we're after. Equity and having this millionaire status doesn't do a lot with it. One of my coaches, he's famous for saying, "What can you do with $1 million of equity and $1.50? You can go buy a Coke at the gas station. You can't do anything else." Now people go try to fight it and say, "Oh yeah, you can pull all that equity out, you can get all the money out and go spend it." That runs out, especially in a declining market, a recession, something like that. So yes, technically you can spend some of the equity, but it stops. Cash flow, on the other hand, when you have it set up right, doesn't stop. Yes, it can fluctuate a little bit, but I believe we should really be after cash flow. That's whenever I turned and put all my focus for cash flow. And that's why I went to mobile homes because they produce a higher return on our investment. Did I eventually become a millionaire? Yes. I'll tell you a funny story that really made my coach very, very right. When I do a net worth chart every quarter, I really encourage you to do that. Doesn't matter where you're at in the journey. If you just see it that it ticked up $10 that quarter, and then you're going to have a little momentum. Maybe you're going to see it down. Maybe it's going to drive you a little bit more. But just tracking, I do it quarterly because I don't maybe do enough transactions to really see much of a difference weekly or monthly. But I know people do it more often. So I did it one quarter, and I knew I was close to a million and hit a million. Text my wife at the time, and she's like, "Sure doesn't feel like it." The $1 million in equity didn't feel any different that day. The cash flow is what we feel. That's what we eat off of. I know I'm pushing that very hard. And I'm not gonna lie, my ego felt good. Be able to say, I got $1 million equity. I'm a millionaire. I mean that feels good, but I can't eat it. So all right, I will stop pushing that as much. I just know that the Grant Cardone's out there, and I've learned a lot from Grant Cardone. That's where the yellow shirt of the omnipresence over and over and over. It came from him. I've gotten some good lessons, but all right. Before let's back up though. How do we do it? You start with a vision. I don't know anyone. I'm sure there's a few exceptions to the rule, but I really don't know anyone that has been out there that didn't start with some end in mind. We hear this worded all different ways. I call it a vision because that's who I learned it from, and they called it a vision. What is a vision? It is a document that has what your future life is going to look like. I have a personal vision, and then I have three business visions because I have three businesses. And I flow all my businesses have to filter through my personal because personal is the most important part here. Now, I'm not going to teach on that whole thing. The biggest thing I see people get hung up on the topic of a vision, though, is they can't just make it like make a rough draft. They try to get so perfect with it. I am a very big proponent of because I get stuck in that perfect world for a bit. just make it. And if you read it every day, every week, hopefully you're not going more than a week without reading it. You're going to so like, hey, you know what? I don't really like the way that's worded. Just get your pen out and ink. Mine, when I write a new one, I'm on my fifth personal and on my second business. And that means a total rewrite of it. I have many versions in between because I get the pen out and I'm like, that just doesn't sound right or something flows differently. And I make edits. I am a little more old school, so I have a physical, as I mentioned, and then I go to the computer and I keep all my old versions and I retype it up when it has too much ink on it. Do that. Just take something and keep reading it. I can nerd out on another time of the science of really what's happening in the brain, how it all works. It works. Every really successful person I know, and they happen to be millionaires as well, they have a vision, a game plan now. Now you have what the very future looks like. Now you have to have a plan to get there because that vision is not the how. It's the why, what it's going to look like. So it's more like the what and why mix, not the path to get there. So then you need a game plan of some sort. A very powerful game plan for me was this is back 2018, I think it was. I'm not always best on my years. But anyways, it was back then. My coach challenged me when I met with him. I spent a whole day with him, and he said, "All right, if you're wanting to replace your wife's income, what is your average net?" Net means after all expenses. I don't like to measure growth or gross. I like to measure the actual dollars I get to eat. So, what is the net average of each of your properties? Out of a handful of properties or so, we found out it was about $300. I needed $3,000 more dollars to replace her income. We need about 5,000. You see how we're rounding here? We're not exact because we get so exact, we're never going to do anything because we're just going to get confused and so hyper focused. So we need about 5,000. And this is not to go on vacations all the time. This is not to, have any of the big flashy stuff. It's to just get by because there's a massive mental shift there when you have the power to say, you know what? I don't want to go to work anymore. And then you get to do something else because no one really wants to sit on the couch. That doesn't last long, no matter how much somebody may think they want to do that. And when we have that basic needs covered, you buy one more property, and now you have X dollars. We'll say $300 more a month, and that's pure spending money. Then maybe you could upgrade on the flight, or then you can have one more flight a month. That becomes spending money, but there's a big difference once you get that covered. So back to the story, the whiteboard. I needed $3,000. I need $300 a month is what I was getting. So math tells us I needed 10 more properties. Took that big whiteboard, put 10 lines on it, numbered them. So that was going to be the name of the property. Over here, 10 little lines for the amount of money. $0 out of 3,000. I was telling her all the time, like a broken record, in a year, you're going to be able to retire. In a year, you're going to be able to retire. I bought a property. I got $165. 165 out of 3,000. Bought another property. I don't remember the next one was. We'll just say $450. Because remember, our average was about 300. So about halfway through, you're starting to see some momentum there. It's big right when you walked in my office, which is the spare bedroom of the house. That was a visual thing over and over and over, seeing it. And then I kept saying it over and over because she did not believe me. And looking back, I don't know how much I truly believed I could do it. But if you've ever heard of an affirmation, I like Tony Robbins' version, which is an incantation. That's really what I was doing when I was telling him over and over, I'm going to replace your income. You can retire. And this was at 29 years old. That was my goal, is to retire her by 29. And that happened. 1 year later, she was able to retire. That didn't mean she went and sat on the couch because, again, no one really wants to do that. And she enjoys the couch more than I do, watching TV. I mean, she does. Everyone has their different thing. I work to actually be able to do more of that. Then she could say, no, I don't want to work there. And she smoothed around a little bit as an RN and found places that truly fulfilled her, like fulfilled what she wanted to do. And that's the power, is she could take that risky chance to move. And if it didn't work, she could do it again. if you have to have that payment, that money coming in every month, it's much scarier to say, you know what, I'm quitting today and going over here. So it gives you that control. So that's a quick on game plan. Let's move over to taking action. This is probably where I see the most people get stuck. You got to take action. I mean, if I'm going to ask at the end of this, and I hope everyone will unmute and give me one thing they commit to out of everything I'm talking about, just one. And I hopefully you message me. Hopefully next month on the call, everyone will chime in and say, you know what, this is the action I actually took. I don't care how super tiny it is. I don't remember who's out there teaching it. Is a 1% rule every day. Be 1% better. I never really honestly subscribed and used that method. I have friends that have. I've been hearing it a lot more recently, and I'm like, I think I kind of did a little bit of that without realizing it, and now I honestly believe in that and like it a lot more than I used to, because I was like, that's too slow, because I was on a got to get this stuff done mode, which is also not so healthy sometimes on the personal side. But you got to do something. You got to put the work in. I have been thinking a ton recently about what sets me apart and why am I successful? Why aren't other people successful? And so it's a Saturday. So 3 days ago, Wednesday, I turned 40 years old. And my little brother set up all kinds of awesome stuff this week. So I'm a member of Toastmasters, which side plug, that is the cheapest self-improvement you can ever do. It's depends on your market. It's, we'll say 65 to 90 bucks for 6 months. And if we sell anything there, we sell self-confidence. You don't ever have to want to be a speaker. It is awesome organization. Find the one that fits your personality. So I'm there. My brother set up. Here, I'm going to back up a little more. I know I'm getting a little all over the place, so hopefully you're following me. I had a bunch of caffeine to get ready for this and didn't eat a lot. So that's why I'm a little all over. Monday, I hurt my back. And, I've hurt my back in the past. But this is one of the worst it's been in a long time. I even did a little bit of video about that because that Monday I did not feel like doing anything. And I'm going to touch on morning routines a little bit. Did not feel like doing it. I was like, Adrian, you take pride in doing this stuff. You take pride in being able to set yourself apart. Get up. This is not the words I use. I use some profane language to myself. I'm like, get up and go do your stuff. So I did. My back actually got worse throughout the day. So this is probably one of those exceptions. Maybe I should have slowed down a little bit. But through that, I ended up going to Toastmasters on Thursday. So I'm fast forwarding a little bit. And my brother had set this whole thing up to embarrass me, roast me, and then also talk me up. So it was a mix of everything. Everyone had speeches about me. And some of the topics were about how consistent I am and about how I do stuff no matter what. And I'd already been thinking in that topic, and it helped me think deeper about it. I believe one thing that has given me the edge, because I'm dyslexic. I was in SLD, so slow learning disability through school. Super hard. I know you hear people say I'm not that special or anything. I don't feel like I am. I actually had to overcome that to even be able to start teaching and speaking. I believe really what has given me the edge is I do stuff when it's hard. I spent a lot of my last 3 days on the floor and on bed. Where I go to for my back, he said, I don't want you doing anything. I said, so I can still go to yoga? He said, no. I'm like, so I can go on walks? He said, no. So I can stretch? He said, no. I want you doing nothing. Laying down and doing nothing. That is not easy for me because I like to move. I like to get my steps in. I like to work out. I'm athletic is my identity. And he just basically said, I can't do any of that. So it was hard, but I still did things to get ready for the future. I didn't do it, everything that was on my list. But those are the moments where most people take that excuse and they say, you know what? I'm hurt. I'm not allowed to do anything. I'm going to do nothing now. I'm going to watch Netflix and that's it. I said, okay, well, I'm not allowed to walk. I'm not allowed to do all these things, but what can I do? I listen to a decent amount of YouTube, and my YouTube is all inspirational mindset. I did a ton of that. I don't even know. Tomorrow, my phone will tell me how many hours I spent because I track all of that. I bet you I probably did 20, 30 hours. It was consistently playing because that's something I could do. I did some stuff from my phone, not as much as I wanted to. But when things get hard is usually when people stop doing it. That's when you get your edge. You're going to continue going with everyone else, and then they stop doing it, you get your edge. We continue going, and then it just keeps happening. Like that to me is my time to get my edge. I'm not trying to beat other people. I'm just slowly raising myself to the top just by continually being consistent and doing these small things all the time. It also builds momentum because if I would have stopped for those 3 or 4 days, then I didn't get those little. Now I have to do big chunks. And so, full disclosure is some things I didn't do that I really needed to do is practice my slides. So I'm going to North Carolina next week, and I have a relatively some things on my slide deck are different and new, and my offer is a little different. So I'm selling a course up there, and I committed to my accountability partner I was going to practice it 10 times. Well, I skipped 4 days. I'm going to get my 10 times in, but I understand and know that doing it 10 times in 3 days is not as powerful as doing it every single day. It's actually more powerful to do it once a day for every day of the week, so 7 times, then we'll even say doing 14 times in 2 days. The power of doing a little bit every day, the way the brain works, you can go nerd out on it by way smarter people than me. It has power. So that's that little bit, and it builds that momentum because you're like, cool, I did it. Cool, I did it. Cool, I did it. And it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, I want to change the subject now because I'm going to give you a bunch of small things. Your morning routine. I am a Miracle Morning fan. It's Hal Elrod. He's one of my absolute favorite people in the world. If there's one famous person I could ever meet, it's him. I would meet him over Tony Robbins, and I'm a massive Tony Robbins fan. I love Hal Elrod. The very quick on my Miracle Morning, because what I believe you should do is study other people that sell this concept, that sell some type of morning routine, and then make it your own. I did his for 66 days straight, exactly the way he did it. And then I decided, all right, I'm going to tweak it a little bit. And I'm consistently tweaking it by learning from other people. So my morning routine starts the night before. Before I go to bed, I start thinking about, all right, what am I going to do tomorrow? If I do this perfectly, and again, I'm not perfect, I run through my entire day, how perfect and awesome it's going to be. And what I get to do, not what I have to do, I get to do that small world change. And then I have some affirmations I do right before I go to sleep. When I wake up, I will feel great. I actually go to sleep through that. Sometimes I'll play some type of positive meditation or positive affirmations while I'm asleep. When my alarm goes off on my most productive days and my best days, I get up that second. There's no snooze. There's no anything else. I get up. Today was a snooze day. Just it was. I allowed myself to do it every once in a while. I wish I didn't do it at all, but it happens. I'm human. For the best days, I can track it back. I get up that second. I do some light stretching in bed. I start my affirmations, my incantations. The real quick that Tony Robbins teaches, the difference in an affirmation and an incantation is an affirmation is, I am happy. I am happy. I am happy. That's it. An incantation is, I am happy. You put energy and force behind it. And again, the way the brain works, it actually happens faster. Now, I am happy is not one of mine. There's something that I'm working on at all times. So I have some set ones. Then I have ones that I'm working on at that moment in my life to bring sunshine, joy, and happiness into other people's lives. That is something that is a affirmation of mine. I actually picture people smiling, and the happiness I get to spread to them. I picture that while I'm saying it. So I'm doing that. I start my non-caffeinated tea. I like mint tea and some other herbal teas. I don't like to do caffeine. And this is usually around 5-ish a.m. I like to get at least 6.5 hours of sleep. I then do some stretches while I'm waiting for the hot water to heat up. So I'm stretching, doing my affirmations. I then have a journal. I change my journals up very often because I like to learn something from different journals. I have a few favorite journals. The Clear Planner is one of them. It's one of my friends. She actually interviewed me while she was making it. So it is one of the reasons it's one of my favorites because I got to put some input. I said, I love journals that do this, and I don't really care about this. To me, what's important about journaling is putting gratification in there. I like gratification. So even if my journal, which my current journal does not have that, I still have a piece of paper that I write down some gratitude every day. My current journal is about money. I'm upgrading my mindset with money. No matter where you're at, you consistently kind of have to keep doing that over and over and over again. So I'm at a stage of life right now. I'm upgrading my mindset with money again. So now we've done some journaling today. So for the last few months, I started cold plunging. So then I'm very fortunate. One of my friends, 2 blocks down, he has a cold plunge. So I walk down there. I get to enjoy the stars. That's something I just love. I walk down there and I get in there somewhere between, I will say, 7 and 10 minutes. It's 40 to 50 degrees. It's going to start warming up a little bit because it's summer. So we're going to look to insulate it. Why do I cold plunge? Is because it's something hard. It has gotten easier, but it still sucks. It's hard. I still have that thought. I don't want to get in there, especially when it was cold out. When I'm in Florida, remember, and it does get a little chilly every once in a while. It gets down to the 40s, but when it's in the 40s and 50s out, and you're gonna walk 2 blocks in your shorts and a towel, and you're gonna get in 40-degree water, and then you're gonna keep yourself breathing and focus, and then you're gonna walk back. It sucks. But doing that hard thing, then getting on here and talking to you, if I'm a little nervous, doesn't seem that hard anymore because that water sucked way more. Or whatever you have to do that day, you just did something that sucked way more. And that's part of what it is. That's a little bit of the Toastmasters too. Speaking is one of people's most biggest fears. You get over that, you're like, oh, well, that presentation I got to do later, or that talking to that seller, that's not that scary anymore. I just talked to 15 people. While I'm in the cold plunge, I do listen to something motivational, and then I have a few minutes of quiet. Right now, I'm using that as my meditation time, but meditation is also a very, 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 very important part of my morning routine. If I don't meditate there, I meditate at home. Meditation is a whole other rabbit hole we can go down, but find the meditation that you like. What else? And I see the time here. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. I have this tendency where I try to pack too much into a little bit of time. Relationships. Relationships are super important. A very good example is that's why I'm here now. I went to a real estate meeting because of a relationship, to network, and then Thurman and I met there. And then that's how he brought me in here because of relationships, networking, relationship, not only meeting people and building, but actually connecting, not just saying, here's on a card, call me later. That doesn't work. Connecting, following up, asking how you can help, actually caring about the relationships. That's super important. You'll make more money with your network and your relationships than you'll make with probably anything else. Let's see what other notes I put in here. So taking action, I want to touch back on that. You're already showing you're taking action because you're here. It's a Saturday evening. You could be out drinking. You could be out doing lots of things, but you're here. I get people saying that, oh, I don't really know what to do. You've already done something just by showing up. So many people won't even show up. I want to quickly touch on mobile homes. Why I picked mobile home, why I believe mobile homes are the best option. And really think about this through a lens of I'm not so much selling you mobile homes, I'm selling the benefit mobile homes give you. The benefit I touched on earlier is the ability to be where you want, when you want, with who you want. So there's less competition in mobile homes. Most people have too much of an ego to buy this thing behind me. They're like, nope, this doesn't look good on Facebook. I don't feel proud of this. Whatever their reason is, their ego blocks them from ever buying. There's less competition. People don't understand them. Less competition. Realtors, they make their money on the sales price, and the sales price of this is less. It's obvious it's less. Less competition. I can keep going on and on and on. There's less competition in mobile homes. What does that mean? It's easier. Price comes down. We don't have to fight with so many people. We don't have to go in these negotiating wars. And I'm not saying this never. I do negotiate and have other people competing with me, but less competition. Lower dollars to get in. This obviously costs less than a site built home that's beautiful. Lower dollars to get in, which when we're starting out, we usually have less dollars. Not all the time. But even if you have more dollars, you can buy more with it if it costs less. And this people from all over the country, so less dollars is by your market. It's still less dollars. Less dollars in California is going to be very different than Florida. There's probably going to be an extra zero on the number in California, but it's still less than the comparable site built home. They're higher ROI, return on our investment. Why do we want a higher return on our investment? Because we get to buy more and get more cash flow with the same amount of dollars. If we have a higher cash flow and more return on our investment, we get to our goal faster. It's the most simple part of it. Higher return equals faster getting to our goals. They are recession resistant. Skip all the stories. We are mostly in the affordable housing space, the bottom tier of rents most of the time. So when we have a recession, if we're in a recession, if we ever find out what the definition of the recession is again, we're going to have people, two household incomes. One of them's going to lose their job because it happens. They're going to lose it. They were making just enough to get by, maybe a few extra $100. They're going to have to come down a rent level. And that keeps happening until the affordable housing space. So then basic economics, if we have more demand, we're not making more supply, our rents can actually go up. I'm not basing on the rents going up, which could be a nice plus. I'm looking at the fact that I will not go without being able to make my payment because I'm going to have a larger amount of people coming in to want my properties. My demand is going to go up. I'm not going to go without people renting it and making money. So two other things I want to talk about within here. You could be in either category because some people are like, you know what? I don't want to do mobile homes. I want to do bigger. I have no properties right now, but I want to do mobile home parks. I want to do multifamily. I want to do something really big. That's fine. But maybe mobile homes are your stepping stone. They could be your end, like me. I didn't realize that they were going to be my end result, but they could also be your stepping stone. That you get enough to get that basis over income, and then you go do a bigger deal. I don't really care for the bigger deals. I like these lots and lots of singles that add up, but they could be your momentum. So they can be either way. You don't always have to shoot just for the stars or the moon, or whatever you want to now you want to do. This could be your building step up there. All right, I have talk. My mouth is dry. I want some questions. I want to know what people are going to commit to doing. I saw that Alex had another call. I think think that's what that message said.
Yeah. So Ashley, do you have any questions at all? You could type them in the chat or say them out loud, whichever you want to do.
We'll try to read. Let's see. Maybe Ashley's typing away in the chat there.
Yeah.
What about
Um,
you? Do you have any questions? Because I vomited a lot out there, and each one of these topics could be multiple hours.
yeah, no, so one of the things I'm gonna commit to is I'm forming an LLC for my future private school I'm working on. So
Okay.
that's the next action step for me. But one of the things I was curious about is like if you had to start from like ground zero,
Hmm.
knowing what you know now, how would you get back to, like millionaire status as well as like make your first six figures? What would you do? Maybe like differently or like, what would you do?
Let me clarify one piece of that question. Do I have money or not with that?
No money.
No
No.
money. All right. So I have no money, but I have my knowledge and my experience. And then hopefully I have my network. Do I have my network or?
Yeah, you could have your
Okay.
network.
Okay. So what would I do? I would really spend some time with my network. I would get good communication with them. But then how would I make the money? I would go and find phenomenal deals and bring people in to pay for them. What asset class? Obviously, I like mobile homes. I would really look at the mobile homes on rented land. So within a park where all you own is the box. I've done some of these in the past. It's right now, it's not my primary business. I like the home and land together. I like to buy both. But if I were starting over, didn't have any money, I'd go buy those. They're cheaper. There's even less competition, and the ROI is even higher. We're talking they should be 75, 100% plus return on our investments. We got small investments, higher return. That's also smaller dollars a month, typically. But we can get some momentum moving there and we can get some cash flow coming in. We should be able to get that really fast. Uh, how would I pay for them? I'd ask for owner financing. Sorry, I would offer owner financing. Would not ask. I would offer the seller. And then if they didn't fit for their life, I would then go to a friend. I'd say, Thurman, I got this property. I'm going to give you half of the net cash flow every single month. I'm going to do all of the work. You bring the money. I'll do all the work and just give you half the money. And I'm going to set up, I'm going to make sure I get a deal that's going to pay you at least a double digit return because you're taking a little bit of risk. Because if I don't have money coming in, you're getting $0 and you're investing in me because I'm going to go do a lot of work. And that's actually how I grew. I did that with some performance based notes. I grew really fast because I got really good returns and offered to pay out higher than a lot of people else would. But I had the security because when you're growing and you have debt that you have to pay out and you have some vacancies, because there's going to be times that you have 1, 2, 3 vacancies that can kill you. I had $0 going out because I was willing to give up a little bit more when I had money coming in only. So that was super powerful. Another tool I would look to use is called master leasing, meaning I would go and find a seller or an owner, maybe a tired landlord, but still doesn't really want to sell. And I would offer to rent it from that person for a long, long, long time with the rights to sublet it out. I have some of these now, and I look for long term. Like I said, I have rental agreements. I rent it from the owner for 40 years. And then I have a performance base that I have the right to then rent it out. So when there's maintenance and repairs, well, that's Mr. Owner. When there's money coming in, I pay my rent to the owner and I collect the difference. I am not managing the property. I am a tenant to one person and I am a landlord to another. There's a lot of pieces there. I do not teach that. David Tony would be the master at that. He's one of my favorite mentors. But it is a really powerful because you can get in those with $0. Because I mean, maybe you need a deposit. I have put a deposit down to fix the property up and get it rent ready. That was my deposit. So if I went over there and did the labor myself, it would have been a little cheaper. I decided to pay for the labor, so it cost me about $2,000, and I got half of the net rent every single month for the next 40 years. And you know what? They actually want to sell it to me now. So I haven't bought it yet, but right now I'm renting it. And when the AC went out, you know what happened? The owner paid for that, not me. I'm a tenant. So it can be very powerful. You do need to do it the right way. I mean, it's very important because you can hurt yourself, you can hurt other future investors, but it is a really good strategy. I would use a combination of those two to build up. I'd still do that vision. I'd still do that morning routine. Those are some of the most important things we could ever do. It's hard to do them when we have the thought process, maybe stress of money, but those two things are super, super, super important to do.
Okay. Ooh. And then also just because you didn't really get into your story as much. So I was wondering like why, because no one talks about mobile homes. And so I'm thinking like how did you get into your first mobile home? That's what I'm wondering about.
Okay. Yeah, I skipped a lot of that because I want to jump into all the meat and nuts there of all my notes. I knew it took a bunch of notes to talk about. So I started 20 years ago as a terrible, terrible tenant. I was renting a place with some friends, and we were, like I said, terrible tenants. You don't rent to 20-year-old either. We had spaghetti wrestling parties, mud wrestling parties. We parked a motorcycle in the living room. We have eviction notices for all of these things. What happened then is we were getting evicted again. My friends and I I said, you know what? I'm just going to buy a house. I bought a house, site built home, not a mobile home, moved my friends in, and then I was renting the rooms out for the cost of my mortgage. So I wasn't paying my mortgage anymore. Divide my mortgage up amongst my friends. So I lived for free. That house hacking thing, I didn't know it was a thing back then. Actually, I don't think it was. I don't think Bigger Pockets was around. So I lived for free. I did it again. The second time didn't work out very well because the bank said, you know what? You're going to lose a little bit every month, but don't worry. Real estate goes straight up. You're going to have this adjustable rate mortgage thing. You'll refinance in a few years. A few years was the top of the market, and the price of the home was going down, so I couldn't refinance. The adjustable rate mortgage, actually, my rate was going up, so I actually was paying more every month. I finally gave up and lost that property as a short sale. I gave it up. Big ding to my credit, ego, but the more painful part of that is it was a ding to my integrity. Fast forward, bought some more houses, and then I started remembering that short sale. I was like, I can't do that again. I got scared. I thought we were at the top of the market. This is 7 years ago. So I have been incredibly wrong. I mean, just so wrong. I mean, the real estate has gone so straight up in the last 7 years. Yeah, last 6, 8 months has not been so much, but straight up besides that. So I've been wrong, wrong, wrong. But it forced me to look for something different. That's where I found the mobile homes. I went to RIAs, like investment clubs, like where we met, and I heard the seasoned investor, the investor that had been in the business longer than I've been alive. I love picking their brains. I talked to them, the ones that I wanted their life, not the ones that created a business that they had to work in every single day. I did learn from them what not to do. But they talked about mobile homes. I heard a theme. I learned that I am very good at finding commonalities of successful people, but then also commonalities of non-successful. And I kind of like find the differences. It's just a skill set I didn't realize I had. And mobile homes is one of those. So I said, all right, I'm going to try them. Why? Cash flow. That return on investment that I talked about. I had an aggressive goal, remember, to make $3,000 more of passive income a month within a year. And I also didn't want to go into crazy debt either. I like to be different. That's why I wear this shirt. This is actually an older version of the shirt. My wife buys houses and mobile homes now, which is my wife buys mobile homes. Then when I transferred over and started teaching, I kept basically the same thing. The lifestyle REI is the same bright yellow shirt, and it is to be different. I stand out. I am different. I'm memorable for it. Mobile homes, they kind of feed into that. I get to be a little different. There's not many people in it. There's also some pieces of it is I get to help and serve a uh, part of the population that don't have a lot of people helping them. So there's not very many people in the mobile home space, meaning they have less options. We have stereotypes, and a lot of times so there's part of a truth to stereotypes. Mobile home, the trailer trash, which is not always true. Not my properties, or most of them are not. But we have a lot of slumlords in all genres, but in the mobile home space, they get taken advantage of more. I get to do my little part to break that and to treat people with the respect I believe they need to have and they should have. So there's a little bit of that there. That's part of the reasons why I still remember having the conversation with my coach after I did a few mobile homes, and he was asking questions because I believe, from my experience, a really good coach asks a lot of questions. And he saw the numbers and what I was doing mobile home, and he's like, "You've got something here. If what you're saying is this is your real goal over here that you said, you can get there really fast with this mobile home thing." And so I took it, ran, sold off all the site built homes, bought mobile homes. It got me there faster than I could have ever imagined. That is my medium length story of why mobile homes. And here, I'm going to go a little longer. I was brought up in Florida that they are unsafe objects. Like, not only to live in it, but to be around it when there's a hurricane. They become hurricane missiles. So it's not only you don't want to be in it for a hurricane, you don't want to be around. And one of the ways that one of my mentors got me past that is he goes, there's 1965 still sitting around. Yeah, yeah, okay. Like they've been around and through more hurricanes than you have. Ooh, good point. This is not my first one, but my first one was in 1965. Coincidental. This is older than a 1965. It's still there. It's been through more hurricanes. Is it a risk? Yes, of course it is, because it's not as strong of a structure. It doesn't have all the exact same tie downs. The brand new mobile homes, they have some that can go through 165-mile-per-hour winds. That's a pretty strong hurricane. I don't own those. But if we have more risk, should we demand a higher return? Yes, we should. And when there's a higher risk, do less people want to be in it? Yes. So that is some of the reasons I became educated, and that's how I became comfortable with mobile homes.
Okay, awesome. And then I actually didn't have any questions, so I'm just gonna I know I have some.
Yeah, man, keep
Uh,
going. I
and
I,
then
I
also
talk
too,
forever.
just from a branding perspective, I love your company name. And so I wonder, where did you come up with the idea of my wife buys mobile homes?
Okay, so this is where I wish I could just say, you know what? I am a genius expert. I knew how well this would work, and I planned all this out from the beginning. Well, it's not true. I'm good at taking action. I'm good at figuring out what's working and then adapting over and over and over. And another thing I didn't really realize on Thursday at Toastmasters, one of my friends pointed out to me that I'm also very coachable. Now, I have not always been very coachable. I used to think that I knew everything and I knew what to do. I learned to be very coachable. So I had my original brand. So you can actually see, again, this is a really old shirt. I'm doing laundry. See that little house right here in the middle there? That is my Fiverr. Went to Fiverr, got someone to make it for $5-10, and it was Fast Solutions for Homes. That was my brand of buying houses. And at that time, it was popular that people had this black with white lettering, I buy houses shirt. And it was pretty popular. I was like, you know what? I just can't be the same as everyone else. Remember, I like to be different. And I was way more introverted than I am now. You wouldn't even recognize me how much I have changed in that aspect of just getting out there. So I needed an icebreaker that you would approach me, because the chance of me approaching you then were really small. And still now, it's not the highest. I still want you to approach me. It's my personality. So I said, okay, how do we do that? I want to be different. And I went with actually, it was more of a greenish color. And then I already knew that women are better than men at marketing. It's simple. You'd rather me be a woman right now, and you'd rather a woman be talking to you because you're a guy, and then women rather women as well. Um, you can go down that whole rabbit hole of the energies, and men are, even though I don't feel like I'm very intimidating, men are more intimidating. It's just the energies of how male and female work. So I had that from experience. I used to be in marketing, and then I read the data, so I knew women were better. What I didn't really realize that like a third party is a little bit better, because now it's not so much Adrian, it's my wife. Another thing I did know though is the personality. I didn't know how important this was, but I am the person next door. I'm not the big like Grant Cardone. I don't have the big business corporate feel to me. That's just not my personality. I get a little uncomfortable. If you had me in a suit, just a black suit all the time, I would not be the most comfortable person. T-shirt, on the other hand, or less, I like that. I'm comfortable in that environment. So my branding and message need to meet me. So that's one reason. My wife, that's the person next door, feel to it. And so I went with that. Looking back now in hindsight with it all that was genius. Now, why did I get rid of the houses right here, the house and houses? Because the mastermind group I was in, they said, get rid of it. I said, no, I want to still take those houses and sell them to other people. I said, get rid of it. So I said, okay, I'm going to prove them wrong. That's actually what I said. I didn't go to take their advice. I wasn't coachable, remember? So then I took that. I tried, and they were right. People liked it better. I still got house leads, but people liked it better. Then they said, get rid of this fast solutions for homes thing. Make the T-shirt your brand. Again, I wasn't the most coachable then. I said, nah, that's not going to work. I'm going to prove you wrong. But they were right again. I keep winning because even if they were right, then I win because I get a good result. If they were wrong, I got some more proof and I got a little ego. But now I became very coachable because they proved me wrong over and over, and I kept winning because of it. So that's how the T-shirt and everything. I want to circle back and say it again. It fits my personality. Earlier, I believe I mentioned that part of my vision, and I want to spread happiness, joy, and smiles. Well, as I started digging deeper in all of this, I started learning about colors. What do colors mean? Every color has a different representation. The even the subconscious mind, all these different things. Well, then I was reading all that. I was like, "Ooh, what does yellow mean?" Like, I got a little worried. That's my color. Well, yellow happens to be sunshine, joy, and happiness. I was like, no way. That is like literally written in my vision. So that's another reason this color yellow is for me. It's stuck for me because it matches the behind the scenes what I really want to do. So all of it goes together. I already kind of like the color. It's bright. It stands out. It's a little annoying. Traffic cone I've been called. I've been called a yellow highlighter. Those are attention getters. I like it. My friend likes to make fun of me that he can't find me when we're in Walmart at 5 o'clock and all the construction workers are there. I love the jokes about it, and it's fun. I get the. So that's the quick on branding. You got to make it your personality. That's the most important part of it. If it's not your personality, I'll go down a little bit more of a rabbit hole. Everyone has something. Unless you had another question, you want me to keep going, Thurman?
Oh, you can speak more on that one. I don't mind.
Okay. All right. So again, everyone has something that they love. It's their thing. My sister-in-law, she loves fat cats. I like animals. I like cats, but she likes fat cats. And then during COVID, she learned that there's a subculture for fat cats. They're called chunky cats. And it's not only like this little subculture of it, they have their almost language and they spell it chunky, not chunky, chunky with an O instead of a U. And Facebook groups of hundreds of thousands of people. So she's an artist and she decided, you know what, I'm going to draw an alphabet book. One of my favorite of these words that they use is they call fat cat nipples nip nops. So this is weird, we'll say. Let's just use the word weird to me. Obviously to you, because you're not, I can tell by your facial reaction, you're not a fat cat lover. But those people love it because it's them. So she has this tribe of people that are relatable. If I would have known I was going to talk about it, I would have grabbed her book. She has the best selling book now because you're not buying it. I bought it because I'm supporting my sister in law, but I didn't have a care to buy it. Her people love it. So there's something that every person loves that they can talk about forever. And if you utilize that, your tribe, your people will follow you and want to do business with you. Star Wars, again, cats, dogs. There's a lot. I have tons of these examples. If you just go and say, you know what, I'm going to use this cat world, and you don't like cats, no one's going to do business. They can feel it. They can tell the energy. You don't have the passion behind it. I won't stop talking about marketing because I actually love marketing. You see how I just keep going and going and going with it because it's such an interesting thing to me. And so that's why I can keep talking about over and over. That's why I don't teach other topics that I don't have a passion on because you would feel that, but also I couldn't talk that long about it.
Hmm.
That's my quick on marketing. You got to make it yours.
Yeah. And then in terms of being a millionaire, like would you say there's been any like big shifts in mentality, before you were that and versus now?
Yeah. Um, I'm more coachable. I kind of mentioned that, and I learned that through my process of becoming one. Um, Way more of the abundance mentality. Like I said, I'm upgrading my mindset with money. Uh, unfortunately, I think we're brought up a lot in the U.S., probably most of the world, of a lot of scarcity mentality. I know I didn't have like an extreme, but I grew up with some scare, coupons, and that's scarcity mentality. Using every little drop of the toothpaste, where you even have you buy a device to roll it and get every little squeeze of toothpaste. That's actually a scarcity mentality. Now, I'm not saying be wasteful and use a half a tube and throw it away, but that has really changed. I am reading right now. The book is The Having. You've read more books than I have ever read. I'm not sure if you've read this one. This has
No,
been very fun of a read. I'm maybe on chapter 3, and shoot, man, I'm actually gonna open it up and talk about it because there were some cool things I read today. Having is the way to change our lens from seeing what's missing to seeing what's there. I just love that. Yeah, I got became a millionaire a little bit. I was getting the abundance mentality, but man, I have so much more of that. I I knew that was the way I wanted to be, is to give and help. But more money I've made and more success, and a lot of obviously millionaire, like it's hard to become that free without becoming a millionaire. It's kind of the byproduct. Back to the original conversation, but the more I give away knowledge, money, whatever, the more comes back to me. And that is probably one of my biggest differences of way before and now, is you can't outgive the system, is a quote I love from some of my mentors. And I'm scared not to give now because I know that's bad energy putting out there. I know it's not going to come back to me. Um, and that's, again, that's money, time, um, resources. That's why I was excited to get on here. For one, it's my vision. I love to help and teach. But if some of the other people dropped off now, so if you get one thing out of this, if somebody watches the recording or the few minutes Alex got to be on, gets one little thing, it's worth. And I made my plans tonight, but let's just say I canceled plans, whatever for. It's worth it because selfishly, it's going to come back to me, but non-selfishly, like that's being able to see someone else light up because of a small change. It's what I didn't have that before. It was like, how do I become that? And now it's like, how do I help others? And I just get lucky because I get it back. And I my goal is to give without an expectation, because more I give without expectation, the more I actually get. And I understand that how that works. So that's what even sometimes makes it difficult to give without expecting, because I know it's going to come back. I have proof. So it's giving, man, and it's helping other people. That's probably one of the biggest things. I've seen that with a lot of other millionaires, a lot of other successful. And so I measure success not by dollars. That's the byproduct of what's really happening. It's the underlining, the freedom to be where you want, when you want, with who you want. You can't do that without dollars. We know that. That's foolish to think we can, but that's how I measure. So you can have $10 billion, but if you have a business that doesn't allow you to get away and be with your family and friends, you're not successful to me. It's the freedom. Now, if you want to work in it, I'm gonna when we get off here, I'm gonna work on my presentation. I want to work on it. I love. I'm excited about what I get to do next week. I was excited to rest my back, lay down, and make all those notes. And I'm like, I gotta stop. I'm not gonna have enough time to even cover all these. I get excited about it. I want to do that. So
yeah.
I'll take a break again, man. I can just keep going. It's just so
Very
exciting.
and then how can I be of value to you or the group? I know you do have a book that I did get, and I posted the review for you with the
Thank you, man.
photo. Got you. But yeah, how can we possibly be of value to you?
I mean, the very first thing is to take some type of action and to do it over and over and over again. And then message me, say, hey, uh, message me and say, I got the LLC done. That lights me up. Waking up and seeing those. I got to teach at my high school to a high school crowd. So that's one of my most passionate to teach because I think we stopped teaching kids about money, our youth. And that's the easiest time to change because they don't have all the debt. But the very first time I got to teach at my high school, I didn't know if anything ever went in any of their head. They're sleeping, half of them and everything. Months later, I saw a girl at Ross. She noticed the shirt and she said, "Oh yeah, hey, Mr. Adrian, I started that IRA thing you talked about, and I put $100 in it." And I was like, "What?" I couldn't believe it. I didn't know anything happened. Think about it. At 18 years old, she put $100 in there. If she doesn't do any more, let's just say, I mean, she said she's going to do it every month, but $100 every month. But if you go and research compounding money, like it's the eighth wonder of the world, some people call it, what she's going to benefit in life by that $100 is mind boggling. Even if she doesn't buy mobile home, all she does is the stock market. She does the lowest investment. She's still going to get such a massive. And to know I played a little role in that, it's just crazy to me. It's one of the best feelings I can get. So that let me know anyone you think I can help pass my book on, pass my information on. Obviously, you can see on this side. I'm new to um, my Zoom background. That's my website. The QR code and my name is adrians360.com. It has all my other contact and all my websites are there. If I can help you, reach out, message. Don't call me. I don't answer my phone. It's on do not serve because I don't want my personal life. I want to come to you when I'm ready, not when you're ready. It sounds a little selfish, but that's how I keep my mindset right.
Hmm.
And and go help someone else. You can't outgive the system.
Yep. All right, awesome. And then any questions for me before we wrap up or
I mean, I love what you're doing. Um, I we've talked about it. I'm still so fascinated with your book thing because that's such a difficult thing for me. So I'm going to read your book. I loved our discussion. Yeah, the first night we met about you get small chunks out of all your books, and maybe I read slower, and maybe I get a bigger chunk out of fewer books. I thought on that multiple times. I even had discussion with my brother and some other friends, and then we were debating it, and so it became fun. So keep doing that. I mean, see, that's that little. You had that ripple effect, and then I've told other people when we saw each other the other night, and I introduced you, or you were already talking to my friend Laura, and I went off. I mean, it just you don't realize the little ripple effects you have that then keep going down the line. So keep doing it. You're helping the world be happier.
yeah, I mean the goal is just because books have impacted me so much. I just want to have that same impact on other people. And I mean the funny thing about it is I never had a plan to be an author. It just kind of happened naturally. Um but yeah. And then the next form of impact is the school. So
Cool.
because I have a mentor, she has two schools, and so she's gonna help fund it and everything, which is gonna be
Awesome.
awesome. All I gotta do is just I have to cover a little small upfront costs on my end, but overall she's handling everything else, the structure and all that. And so it's just like I'm awesome.
Yeah. Everyone, and I promise you, she's got someone behind her coaching and helping her. I'm not going to say no one, but so few people that don't have some type of coach behind them somewhere. And everyone is a stepping stone to someone else to help someone else. And it's so cool. You're getting help, but I promise you, you're helping her. Like, fill her vision, her bucket by you being a part of what she wants to do. And then the people that join your school are going to get helped, and then a few of them are going to go help other people. It's this ripple effect, and if enough of us are doing it, all of society, all the world becomes a little bit better and happier.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. I'm just so excited to have had this call with you. It's like, because I told the other group members they just didn't show up, and then some of them dropped off.
Yeah,
But I'm just happy to have had this talk with you.
yeah, man, it's recorded. Hopefully, they watch the recording. You know, you can't make everyone do it at all. Was it you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. You know, and that was something I had to really do some mindset work on getting into the education world. That not getting burned out and not getting frustrated by people not doing that. I mean, in the real estate education world, it's like a 97% do nothing rate. I mean, 97% of people statistically that buy any of my education aren't going to do anything. And I was like, I don't know that I'm okay with that. So I'm looking to beat that. So have a lot of people still take action with it, but knowing there's no way that 100% of people are. And that can be difficult, but you have to focus on the people who are doing something. They're showing up. You know, life happens. You can't get everything. You can't be two places at once, but hopefully they come watch a recording. So then hopefully they're hearing this right now. They're like, yes, I beat the odds.